Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 121 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. How's it going, fellas?
Good. I thought we were already past 125 for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, if you look at it, if you count the waitlist episodes, then yes, technically we are.
I don't know. I was just kind of looking up stats on the episodes, and I was like, wait a second, why are not all the stats here? And I was like, oh, no, we're really only at 120.
It does feel
a little
weird.
Disappointing, I'm going to tell you.
You want more episodes? I mean, we could do more if you want.
No, I definitely don't want to do more. That's
You just want us to you want me to just jump from 120? I'll just start us at
like like when you
episode.
lose your checkbook, right? And you have to go get a new one, because that's happened to me all the time, and you're like, nah, just start me at like 2,000. That's good.
Just started a new number.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be really conspicuous.
We don't need to let people know it's sequential or not. I mean,
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, some people do seasons. You know, they do like a season of the show, and then they start over. They'll do like 101, 102, 103, and they start at finish at 140.
We lost that. Yeah.
We could make a story arc. That would be dangerous.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Those ones where they're scripted that's a lot more work, man. That's a lot of work to do those. I started listening to the Imagineering podcast. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to that one, but
no.
The
Listen to the
scripted
DuckTales podcast, though.
Is it DuckTales podcast?
Yeah, after the show ended, there's a new podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was Launchpad's answering machine, the first episode.
Oh,
There's a story told by his answering machine.
What?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was kind of boring, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we should probably introduce our special guest that we have with us today. We do have
Finally.
Kerri.
Finally, we have a special guest.
Yeah, we do. We haven't had a guest in quite a while. And truth be told, I was looking back at the last time we had DVC Rental Store on, and it was episode 52, which is quite a long time ago at this point.
Who was representing for them, though?
Oh my gosh. You're going to put me on the spot and try to get me to remember who it was?
Yep, absolutely.
I don't remember. How about that?
Okay.
That sounds terrible. I feel really bad. I'm just really bad with names in general, though. So, that person should not be offended. So, but Kerri is with us from DVC Rental Store. Kerri is, what would you say your title is, Kerri? Is it brand ambassador? Is that what you're going by?
Yes. So thank you so much for having me. My title is Reservation Sales Director and Brand Ambassador for the DVC Rental Store.
That's great. So could you tell us some of your background with Disney, with DVC Rental, with DVC? Any background you have in Disney we'd like to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a 20-year background, well, 20 plus years, because I did the Disney College program back in the early 90s. And I won't give the year away, but it was early in the 90s. And I'm originally from the Massachusetts area, from New England. Came down on the Disney College program and just learned so much about the company and loved it, and was always, of course, a Disney fan growing up. Grew up with all things Disney as well. And so after school, I decided to go back to the company in more of a full-time capacity. And so I started on May 12th, 2000. And so my company anniversary was always easy to remember because it was just 2000. So every year that was the year of my anniversary. And I started with Disney Cruise Line as a reservationist. And just had so much fun. We only had the Magic, I believe. It was just one ship. And then the next ship, the Wonder, came, or vice versa. Oh gosh, this was happening when you get older. I think it was the Wonder, right? That was the first one. And then the Magic came. Anyway, then I went over to DVC as a reservationist for member services and enjoyed it, but knew that I needed my career to be a little bit more in color for myself. And I had this dream, this little girl dream, since the mid-90s of being a Disney ambassador. And it took me about 10 years to find the courage to really go make that dream come true. But I interviewed for the role in 2007. And was named a Walt Disney World Ambassador for 2008. And so that was an incredible experience and a really great year. Yeah.
That's a tough one to get too. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you. It's quite the intense process and interview and media training and media interviews and whatnot. And I just was so thrilled to have the honor, truly the honor to have that position.
Wow, we finally have somebody on the show that's around my age. That's good.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you 20? Are you 22 also, Damon?
So where in Massachusetts? That's my next question.
Yeah, so I grew up in a beautiful town called Melrose, Massachusetts. It's a little Victorian town. It's about 20 miles north of Boston. And so grew up there, went to UMass Boston, and then really have lived in the Orlando area pretty much my whole adult life, because you do the math now, but yeah, I've been here for most of my adult life.
I'm a big Massachusetts person. I had an aunt up there. We would go to the Cape pretty much a couple times a year, and I have a friend that lives up there now in Waltham as well. So I'm familiar with the area.
It's really beautiful. And, I always, I hold my breath, especially during football season. When I say where I'm from, people are like, oh, New England. I love New England and the Patriots. Or it goes the other direction. I'm like,
I don't like the Patriots at all.
Yeah,
That's
you're not
I
going
like
to get
Cape
that
Cod.
from Damon.
We won't
You're
talk
not going to
about
get
that
the love for the
Who
but
cares?
I always would say that, after the Hilton Head one, if there was another place on the East Coast, I think Cape Cod would be a very interesting DVC place.
I agree. So beautiful up there. Yeah. Beautiful. The
Cold.
Seasons, it's cold. Yeah. I mean, you definitely get the seasons, but for me, I love Orlando. I love, the area that I live in, but I do miss the seasons so much. So I try to get up there as often as I can.
That's
Put
great.
that in the suggestion box for Disney, Cape Cod, DVC resort. So 2008, that was really just, it was a year of just pixie dust and magic for me, because it was amazing, but it was 1 year. And then after that, I went into Disney recruitment, and I recruited for the college program that started my career. So you want to feel old, right? Go stand in front of the group of students, back then that, were the newbies coming into the company. Did that for about 7 years and loved it as well. In fact, one of my territories was New England. So I got to go home a lot and see my family during that time. And then I got my real estate license, and I knew that the best place to hang that license was DVC. And so I interviewed for the DVC sales guide, and that was probably so many great families, something different about DVC members and cast, and it's truly just a family. So I loved it there. And then I received a little knock on my door in 2018 for a little project called Club 33 was opening. And the director said, I have a sales manager position, and I had worked with him a time or two when I was an ambassador. And I thought, I do love DVC, but I know a lot of our DVC members would want to be Club 33 members too. So it might be kind of a good marriage of experience. And so I was part of the opening team by about a month shy of the true opening team. I came on about a month after. And so I was one of the sales managers for the opening of Club 33 here at Walt Disney World.
I feel like Damon's going to pepper you with Club 33 questions now, because that's amazing.
No.
You've dabbled with thinking about it before, so.
I've definitely thought about it, but I've spent my money other places, I think, instead.
Wow, you have quite the varied background, Kerri.
It's been, the 20 years was jam-packed. I always say in the last half, the first half, I was pretty shy, not socially shy, but just in this company, this massive company of Disney, I was very shy and just very unsure of myself. Where do I fit in and where do I want to go? And a very intimidating company to be part of. While friendly, it's so huge. And I knew if I could be an ambassador, that would be my boost that I needed to really showcase what I could do and also prove to myself that you have this confidence to do it. So I say my first half, like the first 8 years was like in black and white. And then the last 12 years was definitely in like bright HD color. It was just so great. And then fortunately or unfortunately, I was part of the 28,000 layoffs this past 2020. And being a 20-year cast member, there was only 5 of us on my team. And I distinctly remember thinking, suddenly you've moved into that role where you are the highest seniority on this team. And I knew, I've thought, I've been through September 11th. I've been through the 2009 economic downturn. I've seen layoffs. Your name somewhere on somebody's paper being floated around. So I wasn't entirely surprised. I was a bit heartbroken. But then I came here to World of DVC and the DVC Rental Store, and now I've really just enjoyed being a guest with Disney and still talking about Disney in such a completely different aspect and way. I get to speak on behalf of the company, but also on behalf of myself, which is a new experience for me entirely.
Well, that's very cool. I thank you for giving us your background. I mean, that's amazing. All the different things that you've done, and that you were an ambassador, and it's unfortunate that you were let go. But I mean, it's like you said, it's a new opportunity. So it's kind of a different challenge, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got some questions that we would love to ask about DVC rental. And Damon, I don't know if you want to start. Sure. I see you're unmuted there, like you want to talk.
Yeah. So again, these guys already have too many points, and their family's not big enough. They don't need rental points right now. I need rental points.
Oh man.
So I guess you have like 8 contracts.
Rental points. I've got 3 contracts. Yes, but I mean, it's all right.
So I think for me, what this really is about, right? Rental is a big deal as we talk about going with different people to Disney. And I think that's where it's kind of started, like my parents, my wife's parents, things like that, because the people that we normally travel with do have a contract, but they're not going to be going this year. So kind of like, all right, well, what should we do? So I guess what we're looking at is if you could kind of take us, a high level view of kind of the process as a renter, as well as, the process of, putting your points as an owner as well.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people think, when they see DVC Rental Store, we immediately think of the guest renting out points, but there has to be a member who's rented their points in order to have that guest. And so the process is very simple on both sides. So as the renter, you think, maybe DVC is something I want to try before I buy. Maybe I want to try Copper Creek or Grand Floridian, or I have a dream of staying in Grand Floridian, but I don't necessarily want to buy something there. Or we don't want to buy DVC at all. We love to travel all over the world, and Disney's maybe once every 5 or 6 years. So for this family, it doesn't make sense to be a member, but this is a great way to stay in the deluxe properties, the studios, the 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, grand villas, where you have space and really a lot of access, easier access to the theme parks, as we all know on this conversation. So first, the renters, you think of the people who are non-DVC members who say, I want to try before I buy. I want to just stay because I want to stay in the deluxe properties, or I have 3 kids and we want our space, and we want a kitchen, washer and dryer, whatnot. Basically, our website is one of the easiest websites, I think. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me on that. It's dvcrentalstore.com, dvcrentalstore.com. And literally there's 2 buttons. It's guest or member. And so as a non-member, you would click guest, and you can go in and you can browse confirmed reservations. And what that means is a confirmed reservation is basically a member. So say I have 100 points that I want to rent out, and I've made my reservation for June 1st to June 7th at Copper Creek. You as a guest would see that reservation and say, "Oh, that works perfect. Copper Creek, 1 bedroom, June 1st to the 7th. I'd like to request that." And then that request will come to our team of professionals who will then engage with you to take the next steps into availability and payment, connecting with the member to say we have a renter. Mr. Smith is going to rent out your points. And so it's a joint venture, but the member never has to get involved with the guest. DVC Rental Store is truly the intermediary there. That's really all that they have to do. The other side of that is, say you say, well, I don't see a confirmed reservation with my exact dates or requirements. You can also put in some requests too, to say, I'm looking for June 1st to the 7th in a 1 bedroom. And then DVC Rental Store can say, hey, does any member have points that they'd like to rent for this reservation? So
I have a question right there.
Yeah,
So
sure.
So that's kind of what we were seeing, right? So a lot of the things that I saw as my parents were looking were partials or not available, let's just say. And I'll be honest with you, just going through the website for the first time, I didn't realize there was another part of that where we could put in days and kind of say, hey, this is what we're looking for. So where is that specifically on the website?
On the website, it should say, I'm going to actually go to the website while I'm here. Let me see. Because it's browsed confirmed reservations.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's also, I'm just trying to get my verbiage is what I want to know. So here's check availability. So if you click on the DVC guest dropdown and it says browse reservation and then check availability.
Okay.
And that's exactly where you can go. So if I type in, I'm just going to put in, say, April 18th through 22nd, 2 guests, done search. Okay. And now it comes up. So what I see is 1-bedroom Savannah at Disney's Animal Kingdom Kidani. So you could click available on that. That's showing as available, and then request now. And what that does is that will take your request to the DVC Rental Store's team, and then we will try to match that for you.
Okay. I think I'm stupid. So
No.
I'm at this spot now, right? So I put in my dates. So arrival date, a departure date, and 2 guests, right? When I search, it gives me the 71 search results, but most of them are just partials. So can I get to that spot that you're saying from here, or did I just not go to the correct spot?
It just sounds like then what you're looking for in those dates, it's not fully available. So It might be like a check-in, say the 18th. I'm just going to use my dates, the 18th to the 19th, and then check out the 19th, and then check in someplace else. So it could be that split reservation.
But what about, so what you're saying is that's no one else can come in that has points that doesn't have a confirmed reservation at this point and do anything for me. This is just what's available out there regardless.
Correct.
Okay. And I think that's where the question was. Yep. Now that makes sense now.
And then what we do is try to match that for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it is very easy. And like I said, it does show an available, a partial, and all the different rooms that are available. So my parents have solely missed out on a studio at this point. I keep telling them that they would have need to have booked a while back for something like that. So they're, looking in that 1-bedroom range, I think, at this point.
At the 1-bedroom. Yes.
So now the other thing I had is kind of before we jump into the owner aspect of it, from, the renter aspect of it, is it something that they should be checking every day, like looking for new stuff, or is that kind of not how it works here? Because that's going to give us what we see up there is pretty much what's available from the resort at that point.
It's a great question. It does change daily.
Okay.
So yes, it is good to continue to research it if you're looking for something very specific. For me, I want to stay in a cabin at Copper Creek. That's my DVC dream, is to stay there over my birthday week. Okay. And so I've seen it, and then I'm like, oh, I'll think about it for a couple of days, and then I go back and it's not there any longer. So it is a fluid system.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess from the other end of it now, right? So I want to get rid of my points. And I had somebody last year, I tell like the people that I travel with all the time, he had 180 points and just ate that, like just ate the loss on those points. And I said to him,
crazy.
Look, yeah, he didn't want to switch them over to RCI, which is what I did at that point. But I told him, I was like, why do you just not rent? And, again, he was kind of like, I don't want to deal with the hassle. I don't think I'd be eating 180 points because that's a lot of money, but.
No, and it might be a little bit of a hassle, but it's cash in your pocket. And that's your annual dues, say, maybe for the year, or partial annual dues, or a DVC stay, somewhere else, that's your spend money or whatnot. So as a member, we try to make it just as easy, because of course, if we don't have the supply, then we don't have the demand. So we need our members, to say, we do want to rent out these points. And especially now we're finding so many members have points because of 2020 that they've banked over. And now there's an abundance of points. And yes, we want to go on vacation, but we're not going to use all of these. So if I have 600 points total and I'm going to use 400 points, for our vacation, you could rent out the other 200. And it's very simple. It's simple. I'm newer to DVC Rental Store. And when I learned this, I kept saying, but what else? But what else? And there's really not a whole lot to it. It's literally just going back onto the website, dvcrentalstore.com, clicking the member tab. You'd fill out the form, and then we have a separate team of like a concierge team that will take that, and they will be able to work with you and get anything signed, the form signed that you need to sign, which is one form, upload your points, and then the way that the payment works, that's what I would want to be knowing. Okay, I've done that. Now, what happens? When do I see that money come back of you've rented out my points? Once we've rented out your points, 75% is paid to you on the day of the booking. So not at the day of the reservation start date, but the day of the booking. And that money will be directly deposited to you. Then 25% will be sent to you at the day of the check-in. So you're going to get 2 different payments, but you're going to get the most of it up front, which is really great.
So again, this is where my question resides too. So when I saw that there already are some, so I guess this is really what it boils down to. So you have these points. When does those points get booked, right? Because you can see that there's confirmed reservations up there for you guys. And then we also talked about, well, if you wanted a specific date that maybe wasn't up there. So
right.
What happens to those points when they get to you? Because they're not booked for anything at that point, right? They're just points.
Yes. And so they could be not booked for anything, or a member could say, hey, I have this beach club reservation that we're not able to use. So that would be the confirmed reservation.
Okay, so if someone just can't go on vacation,
Yes.
kind of wants to get rid of something for whatever reason that popped up and know that they're not going to use the points. And is there any difference in money to the seller in 2 regards? One for, those 2 different items that we just talked about, just regular points versus a reservation, or where that reservation is booked at? Is there any difference, or is it just strictly based off the point number?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, there is a difference. We pay $16 per point for reservations that are booked 7 to 11 months in advance at premium resorts. So Copper Creek, Animal Kingdom, Grand Floridian, Polynesian, Beach Club, Boardwalk, Bay Lake Tower. So $16 per point. We pay $14 a point for any of the Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, Hilton Head, and Vero Beach, and anything else outside of that 7 to 11 months when it's within the 0 to 7 months.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Because I think there's definitely some misinformation out there on that. Even from within our group, people were not understanding that process. So that's great.
There's a great tool on the website too. Let me see if I can easily find it here. And the tool is like a calculator. So if you go into members, let me see if I can. Your listeners don't know me just yet, but I'm not the best with tech. But let's see. Okay, rent my points. There's a calculator here where you can literally say, okay, I'm going to plug in the date, the resort, the number of points, and I'm going to see what I would be paid.
Okay.
And it's really such a cool tool to use, because then if you're looking at the availability saying, okay, do I book something in December or July? What's going to be the difference in that, in the price? Let's see. If I can't find it here, I will send it to you, and maybe that can go up.
Tom makes show notes, so that's okay.
Okay, good.
I'm too busy on your website playing with my cursor and all the little pixie dots going on the screen here.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
It's just too entertaining to do that.
So I think one of the other questions that I had and Tanya had as well is, so let's just say you want to blow it out for your birthday, right? And you only have X number of points. So your contract doesn't get you where you want to go. Can you combine points from yourself and from the rental store for one rental? Even if it would turn into, let's say, 2 specific, maybe you'd have to go to Disney and you'd hopefully be able to stay in the same room, but can you combine points that way for a longer vacation, or can you just combine them up for one reservation?
Yes. So the word combine can be a little bit tricky because it makes it sound like, right, that we're pooling everything together. We're pooling 100 points, say, of my membership points and 100 points of a rental point. So those wouldn't go into like the same bucket. It's kind of what you just said, which is an excellent point, Damon, to say, okay, if I book Bay Lake Tower, say the Grand Villa for Bay Lake Tower, and I need, 600 points for that, and I've got 400 of those. So that's going to cover X amount of nights. That will cover 3 nights or 4 nights or whatnot. The rental then would have to be available to back up to continue that reservation. It would be 2 different reservation numbers. Therefore, it could be a move in rooms as well.
Gotcha.
You can always link the reservations, of course, like member services will do that, to say I want these 2 reservations tied together. It's the same person, but that's where it gets a little bit, dare I say, confusing, that it's the same person, but it's using 2 different methods.
So you can't really have expectations, right? Like sometimes Disney will allow you just to stay in the same room and sometimes they won't, but that is not something that can be guaranteed at that point. So I think there's a few more questions, and I'm just going to continue on since I'm the person that was interested in this from the get-go. So I'll just continue going here.
I think we were interested too, but you're the one that started this. Yeah.
So there's going to be a bunch of questions. I think these are a little bit easier to hopefully answer so we can go a little bit quicker. But so what's the minimum amount of points you can rent or rent out?
Yeah, that's such a great question because you'd think that there would be a minimum that we set, but there is really none. It's whatever the minimum point allowance on the point chart is. So I think Hilton Head is that's the lowest probably with six points per night in the off season for a studio. So if you have 6 points or 12 points that you can't do anything with, it's such a low number in the grand scheme of life. Right, 12 with DVC points at say even the low rate of $100 a point, that's still a lot of money. So instead of just saying, oh, well, it's only 12 points, you can certainly rent them. Say you find a Hilton Head availability for 2 nights for 12 points total, put them at DVC Rental Store. Somebody would pick them up.
So this is more of a interesting question to myself. I'm a big data mining sort of person. Do you have any idea what percentage of people that use DVC rental end up buying a resale contract? And if not, why not?
Yeah, so it's so funny because I would say on average, it's less than 5%. And here's why it's so low is because so many of our renters are members. And they said they've done just what you've said, Damon, is to say, I need just a little bit of extra here, or we're not going to go this year, so we're going to rent those out, or I'm going to rent out, these points for my parents because I'm going to use the other half over here or something. So it's, if you are in that try before you buy bucket, then DVC Rental Store, we do see a lot of conversion over into saying, this is kind of crazy. I just spent, a few $1,000s. That's part of the money down to say become a member. So why don't you just do that? But so many of our members have said, it's kind of a good marriage to say I am a member and I can rent points. So it's a low number because of that.
Okay. No, that definitely makes sense. So I think the biggest question for people that are owners that want to rent points is what happens if the reservation gets canceled? So the renter cancels. Yes. What happens?
Right. That's the biggest fear. And if I can put everybody at ease to say, fear not, because DVC Rental Store still pays the member. That's the agreement. So whether we rent it out, whether the guest, say the guest grabs that confirmed reservation for that June 1st to the June 7th, and then they say, we can't, it's May 15th and we can't go any longer. Somebody's sick. We had a change in plans. What happened? We then, the DVC Rental Store reservation team, will work to find another member another guest. Okay. And what that means is we put that reservation back up on confirmed. We'll promote it, maybe on social media as well, podcasts as well. And if we can find another guest, then great. And what we do there is we give an email to the member to say the reservation, original guest canceled. We have a new guest. If the member does have to make the name change on the reservation. Okay. It's important to know. But that's really all the member has to do.
So what do you mean by that though? Walk me through what the member actually has to do.
Really, all the member has to do is, let's say they have their June 1st to June 7th, and we've rented it out. We have a guest. Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith are going to purchase this. The member then just has to get with member services to say, I need to make a change on this reservation to this lead name. Okay. That's all that they have to do. They'll add the kids or family members or whatnot, but that's really it. They don't have to do anything else. So if then that happens, kind of going back to the question, if we can't find somebody and that reservation does go, without a guest staying, the member still does get that 75%, payout.
What happens to those? Who goes? Is it you? Is it Nick? Who actually ends up going to those?
I know. That's a good. I don't know. I'm going to put that in my next one-on-one.
There you go, right?
Here's a cancellation. Did anybody use it? No, but we do. I mean, the team of DVC, the reservationists, they're such Disney fans. And so they don't all live local, but I do know that a few of them have said, oh my gosh, that's a reservation for this weekend. We could fly down real fast, and take advantage of it and use rented the points.
I'm sure. So the last question that I'm going to ask before we give this international one to Trevor here is, so does Disney have any sort of issues with kind of this process, right? So people fear that, oh my goodness, if I use DVC Rental Store, am I going to lose my contract? Is Disney going to come back and say, naughty, naughty, you're not allowed to do this?
Yeah. No, I mean, from what I recall working for DVC, there's a stipulation, I think, that you can't rent the same points 26 times or so. Please don't quote me on that. There's something in there that says like you can't do the same rental, but that's the same point. So say you've got 200 points and every year or every month you're renting out these points, or every week or whatnot. But no, I mean, it's filling up the resorts that otherwise would sit empty, and it's tickets and it's tours and it's food and it's all kinds of other, accessories that go along with visiting Disney World as well.
Gotcha.
What if I rent my room out to Damon and then Damon trashes the room, just trashes it, smashes lights and everything? Can the member get in trouble for that?
Hold on. So let me rephrase that. I'm not smashing lights. I'm stealing stuff.
You're stealing stuff?
I'm definitely stealing stuff. The robes, the maybe the mattress, but definitely pillows.
Oh yeah,
Damon,
pillows.
I had no idea.
he's out of control. This is why I don't rent points. That's it.
There is a stipulation in the contract that does talk about that, and just like anything that is being rented out, the member would be responsible for that. Yeah, but there's also a clause in the rental agreement as well too that we don't want to pair anybody with any troublemakers. And I can honestly say I did ask that question of like who has the liability here. It is the member, but we've never had that happen.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and even as a DVC guide, I think I only remember one time there was like a broken coffee table or something. That the member broke. There was a little bit of a too wild of a party that happened, in one of the villas.
I feel like that would happen in like one of the grand villas, because that's where you have a party, right?
That's
like if you're
where
gonna
you
have a party, you're gonna do it in a grand villa,
Yeah.
So okay,
it's uncommon.
Trevor, do you want to ask this next one?
Yeah. So obviously I'm the international representation here on the podcast. I'm Canadian, and so I guess from my point of view, how does this look for renters and members if you're international?
Yeah, it's such a great question. We love our Canadian friends. So international guests or international members, if you have a membership and you wanting to rent out your points, it's a very simple process, but there is an extra step you have to take that the American citizens do not have to do. And that's getting the I-10 from the IRS. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks or so. So it is time consuming to get that. So I don't want to give the impression that you just click a button, there it is, print it out. Oh, it's all done. There is some waiting that has to go into that. So some planning for our international members as well. After that though, you would just, submit that on the website and fill out the regular form that everybody else submits. And it's as easy as I had explained it before. And it's the same with renting out points as well. There's no difference between the international guests and a US guest.
Okay, sorry, just to clarify, so whether I'm renting points or renting out my points, this I-10 form has to be filled out either way?
Only if you're renting out the points as a member.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got it.
Only as a member. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you're getting money, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, so I guess, so going back to you were saying about, renting from the 7th to 11th month mark, as an international, member, if I was planning to rent out my points at like 11 months, I would want to make sure that I have all this paperwork in line well before then, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
I don't want to give the impression that it's, like I said, that you just click a form, and it's done. It does take some time to get that request filled. And then to have that paper.
Now, is that like a one-time thing, though? Like, if Trevor did that one time, would he ever have to do it again, or do you have to do it every time you rent out? You
do have to do it every time you rent out.
Okay.
That's a great point.
Okay. No, but that's good to know. I think it's, I assume, like you said, that's an IRS thing. So it's not something that we would find on the rental store website. It's something that we have to just go and find somewhere, I guess, federal government or U.S. federal government website of some sort.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I don't know how to navigate towards that. That website's not as easily accessible as my rental store website.
No, that's fair. I guess the only feedback I would have there is, if you guys could at least, help point us in the right direction, it just, just that one step closer to making it a bit easier, right?
Yeah. Right. And in all honesty, there may be an easier way that I'm not privy to just yet. So that's a good question that I'm going to be taking back with me as well. So appreciate you bringing it up.
Do you guys get a fair amount of international renters and DVC members that rent out? I mean, is that something that happens fairly often, or?
Since COVID hit, yes, because so many, we have a lot of Canadian members and a lot of UK, the UK guests also. So this is a good way, during the travel time, if even if restrictions are lifted, some people just don't want to travel, and so we have seen a slight increase. Overall, though, it's mainly U.S. citizens that are renting out points.
I did just do a quick search on the rental store site, and it looks like there's an international DVC member page on your site that gets you over there. So. Oh.
Thank you. See, I didn't even know that. Thank you so much. New to the party here, but thank you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. You even have the link to the government,
to the
website.
IRS. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. So if you ever had to do this, Trevor, now you know how to do it.
Now you know. Now I know too, right? In fact, I knew the website was pretty proficient. I didn't know it was that proficient, though. That's excellent.
It is a very well-designed website, especially, like I said, the pixie dust on the front page is fun. Just making it rain pixie dust all over the page. So it's
we need it this year. We need it.
Yeah, for sure. I think the only other question we had, and this was Laura had actually emailed us. And she actually had asked a question weeks ago about joining DVC. So she's looking to join DVC and was thinking, let me just make sure I get her question right. So she already owns 100 points, but she wants to buy more points. Maybe buy some points at Disney World. But right now she has Grand California points. So she wanted to just know general overall tips of what you would recommend for renting through the rental store. Like what would be your best practices, your best tips?
For renting as a guest, or if she became a member? Oh, okay. Yeah. So renting as a guest, I think with rental, whenever I think of that, I think don't play it safe. There's so many opportunities for you to experience Disney in a whole new light, whether that's a trip to Vero Beach or even Aulani in Hawaii. Walt Disney World, Disneyland, I think people always think of DVC being, especially at Walt Disney World. And with Disneyland just opening back up again soon, California, Grand Californian is opening as well. But Disneyland is only going to be open for residents of California. Yeah. So it's still a resort that's going to be open. But I would say my best practice is you can go to Aulani sometimes for like $14 a point and stay. Yes, there's airfare and it's a little pricey over there. But if that's a dream, I think DVC Rental Store is brilliant for saving money in that capacity, as well as coming here. Like I said, the cabin at Copper Creek, that's my Disney dream, or a Grand Villa. So kind of don't be afraid to go big and just try it once and then say, you know what? Okay, we spent our money. We did the Grand Villa. It's time to buy a resale contract, and actually become a member. And then you become the one either getting the cash in your pocket if you rent out your points, or then this reality, of banking or borrowing or however many points you purchase to stay in some of the bigger places can come true.
And what would you say that, again, I think this is something that people need to hear is, what can you save? Now, I know I did the numbers for the one that I was looking at, but on average, is there a number that you could say between this and this? Like, what will people save doing this over, room rack rate of?
Yeah, just going online, saying I don't know an exact percentage, but I know that I was just browsing around last night and there was an Aulani vacation, and I think it was 4 nights, for under $3,000 in a ocean view. Then I saw, was it Beach Club? I think it was a beach club, and it ranged about $400 a night for Beach Club. If that's unheard of for the prices of Disney during a peak time, especially.
Yeah, no, the one I was looking at, it was at least $1,000 difference from, DVC rental or room rack rate, which I thought was large. So people need to understand that you're not talking about saving a couple $100s. On most of these vacations, it can be thousands.
It can be. And you also have the luxury, as we all know on this call, of the kitchen, the kitchenette, so you can save on groceries, especially with all the grocery delivery now. You count out having to do breakfast out every day or count one meal in the room or pack up snacks for the kids or whatnot. It makes it so much more convenient that you're not there buying the higher pricing of the snacks, the waters, this and that. You can actually have somebody bring you groceries. Now you have a full kitchen. If you're going to be home, make a big spaghetti dinner, one night and watch the fireworks from the beach club or from the Polynesian or whatnot.
We frown on that, just so you know.
We frown.
Oh, you do?
Excuse me? What?
We frown on making dinners. I believe that breakfast is the only acceptable.
Sorry. I thought you were talking about the watching the fireworks. I was going to...
Oh, no. We just frown on making dinners there.
Yeah.
How is it because you're on vacation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I understand that too. Yeah. But it's always good to have options, right? It's a rainy night. Someone doesn't feel good. You don't have to use the kitchen, but even if you order pizza, right? Just nice to have a table to sit at rather than sitting on a bed or a little tiny table.
Yeah.
So there's so many great reasons to be DVC members, and to rent out your points or rent the points from the DVC member. It changes the way you go experience Disney, from the transportation to the amenities at the resort, to the views, to the room sizes. It really is a game changer.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, because I've told this before on the show. My wife and I we used to always stay value resorts, and then the first time we stayed deluxe was on our honeymoon, and then we immediately were spoiled, and we were like, "There's no way we can go back to value after this.
Right.
Like, we just can't do it. Like, it's we need to continue doing this." So that's kind of how it happened. But to Damon's point, from before, you can save thousands of dollars doing it this way, and you're staying in deluxe resorts, you're staying in the best resorts that Disney has to offer, and you're saving a lot of money doing it. So.
It's so true. My mom was always a Dixie Landings fan. Remember Dixie Landings before it was Port Orleans, Riverside?
Port Orleans, yeah.
Yes. And so they loved Dixie Landings. That's where they always stayed. And then one time they came to visit, and I got them at the boardwalk. And ever since then, she's like, why would anyone stay anywhere else but the boardwalk? That walkable pathway to EPCOT, she still loves her Dixie Landings, as she still calls it today, but we go visit it now. We don't necessarily stay there because we have to be close to EPCOT.
Wait, Kerri, were you part of the River Country Club? Did you experience River Country?
On my college program, I did.
That's why. There we go. See, she's already got a leg up on most of the other people we have on the show then.
Oh my gosh.
I just one time, though, it was 1994. Spring college program was 1994.
Wait. Here's the big question. Do you have photo proof of this?
I've got to somewhere. We only went one time.
That's okay, as long as you have photo proof.
I don't know if I do. You know what I do? I do somewhere have photo proof of. Remember,
we have to put you in the Tom Club till then. Sorry.
My parents claim that I was there when I was a kid, but I have not seen pictures of it, and I don't remember it. So
yeah, it was so fun. Remember Discovery Island? That's the other. That's the other club too. Yeah, I do have a picture of taking the boat over there one day, but those are the memories.
Well, Kerri, it's been great having you on. Do we have any other questions for her that we can think of here?
I'm good.
All right. Anything for you, Trevor?
Actually, so one thing, just going back to your talking about the price difference, more of an observation is, for people that are trying to do the mental gymnastics of, why rent points versus, just pay to stay at a resort. I think for us, the threshold was, we were making the decision to stay at even just a moderate resort. And when we looked at the cost of, DVC points versus like even just renting DVC points versus a moderate resort, like you guys were talking about, you're saving a bunch of money on this. If you were already going to stay at a moderate resort, you may as well be looking at renting, DVC points, and then you can stay at a deluxe resort. Like
moderate resorts are terrible. We already talked about it. It's terrible.
Kerri was just saying her mom's favorite is a moderate.
Yeah, Port Orleans is a moderate. Yeah, but that's exactly it, right? But that's exactly the point. Is you can make that jump so easily, right?
It's such a great point, Trevor, that to the analogy of a moderate resort, which are great. But again, it's that location. It's the amenities at the resort. It's the, the beach club pool. It's the size of the rooms, it's the monorail. It's getting right on the monorail. So it's, there's a lot of benefits to those deluxe resorts. You cut your transportation time, greatly. Riviera with the Skyliner.
We almost made it the whole way through, Kerri, without the dog.
Oh my gosh, I'm
so close.
No, even the dogs agree.
They do. They agree. Yes, there's great value in DVC Rental Store. That's Gracie and Coco. And anytime an Amazon truck goes by, which is a lot, I'm so sorry.
I have a dog named
really
Radar, and he does the same thing.
I think each one of our dogs has made an appearance on the podcast at some point. So
Yeah.
Has my dog been on the podcast?
no, maybe what? No, I think your dog one time works.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. But anyway, so Kerri, so where can people reach you if they want to reach out? What's the best way to do they contact you directly, or should they just go right to the site? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, the site is great. DVCRentalStore.com. You can give us a call. You can chat with the team, as well as, like we said, browse through any confirmed reservations. But the team is just so great. And, we're 7-day-a-week operation as well. So from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. And that's East Coast time. And so we're happy to help with any questions, and that's the nice thing too, is that it's not just so transactional that you just say, I feel like I'm kind of alone in this. The team will help walk you through some questions so that you can really feel comfortable at renting out or renting your points.
So like my parents, who, again, we kind of talked about before the show started, that have a little bit of technology issues, they can just call and do everything from start to finish if they wanted to?
Absolutely. Yes, we still do ask the guests to enter the information. So I'm always cautious to just say, we'll do it all. Unlike, say, a DVC or Disney Cruise Line, where the cast member will enter everything for you, we do ask them to fill out a form. So there is some computer work to do. Mm-hmm. But that's something, Damon, you could maybe help them with or whatnot.
That doesn't seem like me so much, but...
Okay.
They would be like, fend for yourself.
You're on your own.
You're on your own. That's funny.
But they'll be able to answer all the questions and just really help ease their mind. And, that's a big, service piece that we want to be able to provide as well, is not just saying, who am I booking with? Who are these people? We put faces, behind the screens as well.
Great.
Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure meeting you, Kerri, and it's great to have a contact at Rental Store that we can come to when we need to talk about this stuff. So we really, really appreciate you coming on. And
thank you. This has been so much fun. I have been excited to do this and just meet all of you. And I'm just so thrilled to have been asked. So thank you so much. I'll come on anytime.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. We didn't scare her off, so that's good news.
It takes a lot more than this.
I did wonder what Marissa and/or Derek had told her about us before she came on, but probably all good things. I mean, we usually ask them really off the wall questions too, though. I mean, we were talking about dishwasher loading last time, so we ask weird stuff to them. So
it's like sitting at a bar having a beer. Although I don't drink beer, so maybe hard cider or something. I don't know, but yeah, just fun.
You can have a soda with me. It's all good.
Okay. Wonderful. I'll do a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
That's exactly how we describe our show, and that's how people describe our show. Is it's like sitting around just talking Disney with some friends, right? So that's what we try to do here. So,
well, I appreciate you letting me kind of sit on the couch and have a conversation with you this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right, so it was great having Kerri on. She was really informative, really fun. It was definitely a lot of fun to have her on.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah, very good. So not that, it's just been a while since we had DVC Rental on, so it was good to have DVC Rental. I feel like DVC Resale gets all the love. Now we're going to have Monera on sometime soon here to go through this stuff too, so.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was nice that, we were able to kind of step through the website and, I was actually, thinking about renting out points, and knowing the bit about the international stuff it changed the conversation a little bit. It just means I have to plan a little bit more, but I'm glad that we had the discussion there.
Well, we have a fair amount of international listeners too, so that's probably good information for them too. So
exactly.
What were you going to say, Damon? Sorry.
Nothing.
Okay,
no.
Cool. Well, that's good. All right, well, let's get into it then. Let's go. We don't have a lot of news items this week, actually.
Well, that's good, because I got stuff to talk about before we even get into news then. So.
All right, go ahead. Go.
I made the Num Num cookies.
Oh, you did? The cookie Num Nums? I've heard they're very good. I haven't had one yet. Not good?
I think I'm starting to get like cookied out almost. Like they're all starting to like blend in. So I guess the difference with the Num Num cookies, and again, there's an official Disney recipe for them, which is great, is that it's a brown butter chocolate chip cookie recipe, which is a little bit different. But they were okay. I definitely made a mistake. I was very impatient on the cooling of the butter. So mine were probably a little bit grittier than normal. But they were okay. I'm starting to feel like they were okay. For my son that doesn't like chocolate, they were very good though, because again, it gives them that brown butter taste. And if you pull the chocolate chips out, it was, he enjoyed them probably more than any other non-chocolate chocolate chip cookie that we've made.
Oh, wow.
I think that the other thing I want to talk about, and Tom and Trevor have some pictures, is that I'm starting the process with the wood carving piece.
Oh, yeah.
I'm super excited for
those
that.
Those pictures are awesome.
Yeah.
Like, they're really awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited to kind of get this process started. And so what this is this, I'm sure people that are all over the boards see Raymond Kinman, who's a master woodcarver, Imagineer. He's done, what the Winnie the Pooh, Indiana Jones signs. He's done a ton of stuff. So Trevor had originally reached out, and I had seen him before, but I knew he was going to be way too long and expensive for my time frame. But Trevor had reached out and kind of got me thinking again. So I spoke to Ray, and he had said that, if you don't want to wait the 2 years, that he does have students that he's training, and that maybe one of them would take my piece up. So we spoke, and I did get one of his students. So my piece is kind of in the process, and it's going to be hopefully, knock on wood, way less than 2 years. That's for sure. And I'm super excited. So the artist sent me 5 sketches, and they're all so good that I'm kind of a little bit at a loss, but I think I've finally narrowed it down. I'm going to be sending a message back today on which ones we want.
Yeah. The ones you sent us were pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I'm super excited for that process.
Yeah, that's really good. You'll have to keep us posted on that.
It might change Trevor's opinion about
doing it.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but again, it's
it's a lot of money.
it is, and yeah, I realize part of that was I realized that we already have a lot of stuff hanging on our walls, so I don't know if I need any more signs or pictures or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like how she picked up on your theme though. That's like, have with the DuckTales theme, and each one of you in the family a different member.
Well, that was the insight that I gave.
Yeah.
So that was the insight that I kind of gave. That's what we were looking for. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And we've been cricketing.
We've
been cricketing.
I saw that. Yeah,
cricketing. Yeah,
got a cricket freestyle or something like that.
Air Explorer 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So crickets are like precision cutters, Tom. If you
I swear, I always thought it was called cry cut, not cricket. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say it out loud. Sure. So I was like, "What are you talking about? I don't even know what that is." But I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My wife has an older cricket, the ones that used to use the cartridges. So yeah, I know all about those.
That's pretty cool because you can make like shirts and stuff, right?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of vinyl stuff so far, but yeah,
that's cool. Can make some like how much like don't you have to have like some graphic design, like do you probably have to have some like art skills to do that, right? I mean, you gotta
I got skills.
You got skills? All right.
You really just have to have Photoshop skills, to be honest with you.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, there is a lot of like you can borrow fonts and stuff like that, and there's a lot of pre-made stuff out there that you can put together.
I did see a lot of people in our group posting stuff, and there's some pretty impressive stuff that some of our people have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some cool stuff in there. That I really liked. So yeah, that's cool. I don't have anything fun to talk about around that, so I got nothing. But do you guys want to get into like the topics now? Like,
let's. Sure. So this first
the show's not over yet?
No, the show isn't. It really hasn't even really started yet. I mean, we're gonna just talk about some food later here. And some other.
I'm not gonna make it. Everyone that's listening, there's no way I'm making it to the.
Do you want to start with food?
Let's cherry pick what I want to talk about. Sure. Right, I like that.
We could start with the best bites because I feel like we need to talk about this corn dog from Disneyland, right? The pickle corn dog.
That.
Yeah.
I was actually contemplating making that because it was like, That's very interesting.
Oh wait,
sure.
You guys have never had the Disneyland corn dog, have you?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I mean, they haven't had this before, right? This is kind of crazy.
Hold on. Let me see what you're talking about.
All right. Well, we'll start at the top while you look there, Trevor. So,
Okay.
Restaurantosaurus. It's a Disney Animal Kingdom theme park. There's a sea turtle cupcake, which is graham cracker and key lime pie filling.
That was good.
Vanilla buttercream. I don't love buttercream, and it's also got a fruit snack sea turtle. It looks good. I would definitely be down with that.
Yeah, I like it.
But the thing is that as we kind of look a little bit too down, right? Because we can skip over the cocktail. This honeybee cupcake, like I'm all about that. Honey Bavarian filling and honey frosting.
An orange cake.
Yeah, I don't love orange cake, but I'm still on board with the filling and frosting. That would be amazing.
You don't think that would be too sweet? Like,
the orange cake is leading me to too sweet, Trevor, but honey to me is never too sweet. And I feel like, no, not to me. That's something that I just, like I said, I'm a honey person all the time, so it's never really too sweet for me. I'm okay with that.
I just saw that this is available April 5th to 29th. I will be there on the 29th, but not at Animal Kingdom, so that stinks. Because I would totally want that. Don't worry, there's plenty of things to eat. I'm not that worried about it, but this kiwi margarita looks good though, too.
Okay.
No? No one feeling
about that. I'm just not spending my money on drinks. They're so expensive, and I just don't care enough.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all drinks right here. But what about this cotton candy thing? This cotton candy top lagoon?
Cotton top lagoon.
Yeah.
I'm not spending my money on that though.
Blue raspberry and lemonade topped with a wave of cotton candy. Again,
frozen blue raspberry lemonade. It's an icy.
Okay, which is fine, but yeah,
too expensive. That's what I'm gonna say. Like if it was given to me free, sure, I'd try it, but.
I'd try it. I'd do it.
I'd rather the Loggerhead sour apple Sprite with green sugar rim. That would be more along my lines. But this flamingo cupcake, these cupcakes are coming pretty hard this time. So strawberry cake filled with strawberry compote. See, and I'm glad they went with the compote, guava frosting, and strawberry crisp pearls.
With a full-on
that's a win.
Top.
That's a win.
I never know how to eat these cupcakes. Like, do you
one bite? You're a chump unless you one bite them. That's the way that
you don't know. You don't know how to make a cupcake sandwich.
Oh yeah,
well, my wife does the sandwich. I refuse the sandwich, but I
always make a sandwich. The sandwich is the best way, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with that, Trevor. How are you going to eat this in one bite? This is like
a man, Tom, like a man.
Some of us cannot unhinge our lower jaw, Damon.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyone can. It's mushy. How can you not eat it in one bite?
I mean, it's huge.
Well, I also don't want it all over my face either. Like
that's also true.
No,
especially the pink
cupcakes
frosting.
Are always one bite. Sorry.
I've never one bited a cupcake before.
I mean, a mini cupcake I'd one bite, but
but those are literally like called 1 or 2 bite cupcakes. Like.
I feel like this is going to be Jeremy's meme now of you chowing down on a cupcake in one bite.
I guess so. I mean, that's just how everyone should eat cupcakes. I don't know what to tell you.
All right. Well, these are all drinks.
So let me just comment on the drinks. So back to your saying, that the raspberry slush looks good. My thing is if I'm going to pay for a fancy drink, if it's just like lemonade or raspberry, like that's not enough to, like, to your point, Damon, it's a lot of money. And you got to do something special with it. Like throwing cotton candy on a drink does not sell it to me.
I will tell you that lemonade to me can be of such differing quality that a high class lemonade could push it over the edge. Blue raspberry to me is very fake. So it just already negates the freshness and syrup, quality of lemonade. Yeah. So if you have this top notch lemonade, but then you just blue raspberry in it, like, wow, why bother having good lemonade?
I will say I've gotten many lemonade slushies at Disney, and they've always been too sugary. I've never found
I don't like that either.
Like proper lemonade, right?
Yep, I like my lemonade like I like my apple pies, a little tart.
Yeah. All right. I'm just looking through these drinks really quick here because this Lion's Fury sounds good. Jungle juice, black cherry liqueur, infused bourbon whiskey with a cinnamon whiskey floater. That sounds good.
Yeah, for probably like $30.
It's at least 15. Right? So, what is this beehive cake? Look at this thing.
That's a honey bee citrus blondie.
Wait,
a
now, where are you at?
Or wait, is
No,
that the
you're
one
looking at a draft, dude. Remember, the picture is above
sorry.
what it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
the Earth Day Beehive cake then. Okay.
This is only on
definitely
Earth.
down with
Oh no,
that.
this is the 6th to the 22nd. It's a
Yeah.
buttermilk honey chiffon cake with
That looks
crunchy,
amazing.
crunchy almond mousse covered in toasted meringue. That does look amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That would be my go-to so far.
Meringue sells me.
And that one's, by the way, that one's at Grand Floridian at the Gasparilla Island Grill. So there you go. That's where you can get that one. Let's see what else we got here. Ooh. Olivia's has some weekend brunch items. These look pretty good.
The only thing that's good, I love a Benedict, but it's crab cake, so I don't do it.
Yeah, I'm out on that too. But banana bread, French toast, and chicken and waffles, I'm always down with.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
A banana bread French toast. I feel like with French toast, though, maybe I'm starting to just do a lot better at home. But French toast is one of those things you can do it really well at home. I'm starting to look at items now, like when I start looking at the Disney stuff, items that either one, the quality is phenomenal, right? So maybe they could fall into that. Two, that it has an ingredient that I wouldn't necessarily always see. Or three, that it's just difficult to cook, so I don't want to be involved in it. That's, again, like I look at French toast and say, okay, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like Eggs Benedict is a pain.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of that.
Big pain, yeah. This is I get what you're saying. That totally makes sense. I'm just looking at this, and there's a Disneyland item in here for Blue
Pickle
Bayou.
Dog?
What's that?
The Pickle Dog?
Well, before we get there though, the Blue Bayou restaurant, and the news here was that they're now going to serve alcohol, and they're going to only be the second restaurant to do so. And I don't know if people care about that anymore.
You know, honestly, I'm surprised it took them this long, because the Blue Bayou did strike me as the kind of, it would be the first place in Disneyland to serve alcohol just because of the type of restaurant it is.
Yeah. So what they're doing, what is that here? I see a mint julep, but it says non-alcoholic mint julep.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're saying they're doing a seasonal take on the mint julep, but they say a hurricane cocktail, a New Orleans staple. I've never heard of a hurricane cocktail, so
Ooh,
it's a big thing in New
tough
Orleans.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some strong stuff in New Orleans. Yeah.
All right.
That's what New Orleans is known for. Yeah, so that makes sense. But let's talk about this thing that people are talking about.
What, the Pickle Dog?
The Pickle Dog, yeah. So this is a hollowed out pickle where they shoved a hot dog in the middle of the pickle. Then they batter it and put panko breadcrumbs and fry it. And then you eat it with peanut butter. So I'm going to start off by saying I'm out on this just because I'm not a pickle fan. Right?
Ooh.
I feel like you gotta like pickles to like
Does it surprise anyone that Tom doesn't like pickles? I mean,
pickles
who
are
doesn't like pickles.
good, yes. This is actually a very good like balance, like, because corn dogs are usually very oily, heavy. Having the pickle in the middle, I think that's a great idea. One thing to note: this is not a red cart corn dog. For those that have been to Disneyland, this is at the Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs cart, which is in downtown Disney. This is not the one inside the park. Still go to the one inside the park. Different corn dog. Just saying.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to recreate this. I don't necessarily do beef hot dogs, so I'd have to figure this out. But could I create this at home?
The pickle part seems challenging. I mean,
you gotta core the pickle, right? So you gotta like get a big thick pickle and then
you
core it out.
Yeah, where are you gonna get pickles that big? Or alternately, could you do a pickle wrap? Like take some pickle slices and wrap it. And
I just don't think that's the same thing, though, Trevor.
You don't think so?
I think you gotta hollow it out. So what we've been doing is, and again, I don't know why this has been happening, but in my house, we've been like saving pickle juice and making our own like cucumbery pickles. So I feel like I could get a cucumber, let it sit for a bit, and just regular pickle juice, and then try to create it. It might not be as pickly, but I think it might be easier because I wouldn't have to get a super huge pickle.
So you guys would try this. You guys are down. You guys will try this.
Oh, absolutely.
I would not because it's beef, but I would definitely like to recreate it.
I'm
now,
down
would you
to
dip
go
it in the
for this.
peanut butter?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's again the thinking of how the batter on a corn dog normally tastes. Yeah, peanut butter would work.
It's just it's such an interesting combination of things. I'm not saying I wouldn't try it. I don't hate pickles. They're just not my favorite thing. So I would try it though. I would definitely give it a shot. I don't know if I dip it in the peanut butter. That just feels weird, but maybe once as a bite. But I mean, it looks like quite a large.
It's a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the panko on the outside. That's always a good way to go, I feel like. But man, that is, I've seen a lot of people talking about. I've seen some articles about it looking disgusting. I saw one article that said Disneyland has a new food item that makes me want to puke. I think that's a little far. That's a little clickbaity, I feel like. But
it seems like it's awesome. I don't know what people are talking about. That's pretty awesome.
I think it looks kind of cool. I would definitely try it. I'd give it a
All right, so let's see what else I want to talk about before I go. Reusable bamboo utensils I don't care about because, again, we already talked about sporks. But
that's in this same article, and I had it listed as a separate thing. Look at that. So we
yeah. This Reflections thing, though, has me interested. So the permit filed to remove Reflections construction trailers. It's a little disappointing. I can only hope that that's going to lend itself to the EPCOT one, which is still rumor, instead. Yeah. But see, it makes me feel like that's not the case because think about it. Why would they remove something they've already kind of started on to just do the same thing somewhere else? I don't know about that. This makes me feel like there's not going to be a new resort for a while. That's what this makes me feel like.
Yeah, I would say that. But I mean, I guess the difference is here, like the one in front of Epcot's probably wouldn't be a DVC resort. It would just be a regular resort. Whereas this is a DVC resort.
Think so?
Yeah, that's what I think the rumor is that it's just going to be a regular resort. And that, this was obviously a DVC resort. So I think that there's a difference there. If that's the case, but there was a permit filed to remove the construction trailers from the property where they were building.
We don't care about this, Tom. We want to talk about what you just said. All right, so hold on a second.
Yeah, no.
yeah.
We don't
back
care
up
about
a sec.
this part.
Back up a sec.
Yeah, back up. You can't say that and then just keep moving.
No. I'll go. You're talking about what that other resort's going to be? If it's going to be DVC or not? I haven't seen any indications that rumored resort would be DVC.
Could Disney
seem like it?
Could Disney actually build a resort at this point that not at least have a section of it be DVC? That is my question.
That's the question. And now the other question is that have we seen any high-end resorts, right? Besides, isn't there one that doesn't have DVC? And this has to be a high-end resort because there's not as much room. Like, you cannot give it a Caribbean or style. Like, it's got to be a high-end resort where they're putting it.
Yeah.
Anywhere around Epcot.
I could see them putting DVC units in it. I just don't think it's going to be a full-on dedicated DVC resort. I think it's going to be a mix.
What will it be like?
Like Animal Kingdom.
Like Bay Lake?
Yeah, well, Bay Lake is a full-on DVC resort, though. Animal Kingdom is probably the best example, I think. Besides Wilderness Lodge. Wilderness Lodge is a good example, too. It's half DVC, half regular.
Yeah, okay, maybe. I could see
Polynesian
that.
Polynesian, yeah.
It
Polynesian
has a section that is DVC and the rest is regular, right?
I just feel like it's going to be... So here's the thing. Let's think about it. If you made it just DVC, does that push a ton of people to go DVC?
Well, that's the thing here. I think they're pulling back on this because DVC sales, like direct DVC sales, have slowed quite a bit, right? Like, so they're not selling what they already have. Like Riviera is only like a quarter sold basically. So I feel like they just don't have the, I don't know, the demand there. Yeah.
I feel like if there was any DVC in it at all though, Tom, it puts that on hold, right? I don't see them stopping this to then build another resort that's, even if it's not all DVC, is going to have DVC in it. And that makes me sad because that's where I'm like, oh.
See, I don't see this as a like this project is dead. I think this project is just indefinitely delayed. Like, I think this is maybe a couple more years down the line now. Like, because this was originally supposed to be done in 2022. So I'm just wondering if they're just taking the trailers out because why leave them there for 2 years if you're not going to do anything?
Do they come back to this or do they do a new one? What's your thought?
I do think they come back to this because I at some point down the road, I think they will come back. I think it's just, if the demand is there, I think it's going to take them a couple of years to recover from 2020, and I think they're going to need to pull back on some stuff. And I think this is one of the casualties. It does seem like they're still moving forward with the Disneyland hotel because there's a major need there, right? Like they know there's huge demand for that.
Yeah, totally different ball game.
Different situation there, right?
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think with direct sales slowing down so much, I feel like they just put the pause on this for now.
So, yeah, I think it's a matter of, like you said, they're probably going to take it back and they're going to take this opportunity to do some redesign of Reflections. So whatever we've seen of Reflections, you're probably going to see them release, new photos, a new proposal in a couple of years when they have a chance to kind of revisit it, realign based on what the economy is doing and everything. Pulling the trailers out, I think, is entirely you've already, we occasionally see videos of, like some guy got over to Discovery Island and was hanging out in the buildings over there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as, you don't leave a bunch of trailers there just to invite people to go and explore, because there's always those people that will go where they're not supposed to be. So taking the trailers out makes sense if they're not planning to do anything in the short to medium term with it. I don't think, them pulling trailers out of this and the EPCOT hotel are necessarily linked. But again, back to what you're saying about the EPCOT hotel is if they don't at least offer a portion of it as DVC, they're doing themselves a disservice. But I also get where they wouldn't offer it as DVC because there is a bit of a mental hurdle there for people, I think. And they're probably going to sell it to a different set of people that, want to stay, on like in EPCOT, right? Even though, DVC, we definitely want to do it, but there's a weird break of people that go, I don't want to pay for, a DVC contract, but I'll shell out a ton of money to stay at EPCOT, right?
It's people that don't necessarily want to go to Disney as often as maybe we do.
Yeah.
And let's mention again that the whole EPCOT hotel thing is purely rumor at this point. That Disney hasn't confirmed anything.
Yeah, it is.
Total
it's a dream
rumor.
Of mine, that's all.
We have no idea if this is happening.
it may end up with Haunted River Country in our lexicon at some point, but for now, it's maybe a thing.
Oh,
it's stopping me from buying a contract until like there's more definitive news on it. I'll be honest.
You could always sell it. You could always sell whatever contract you bought now and then bought.
No,
doesn't sound like me. No.
I did want to Jim, who had emailed us about the senior citizen stuff. He said he had some great ideas for Haunted River Country villas. He was saying that patent we talked about a couple weeks ago with the projection in the rooms would be great for like Haunted
Ghosts?
River Country. Yeah, because you could have like ghosts moving around the rooms. You could have creaky doors and lights flicker. And
how mad would I be if they did that though? Would you imagine?
Would you? Well, no. So his thing is that you would customize it for yourself. So
but what if they ended up doing like a Haunted River Country?
Oh! You're saying how mad would you be if they actually did it?
If they
Could you imagine?
No, I mean that would be amazing. Yeah.
I guess I probably wouldn't even be mad because it would be like I wasn't going to get money for it anyway. But I would definitely be like, "Oh, that was me." Like we have
documented evidence of this.
Yeah. We've been talking about it for years now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what episode that was, but it's at least 3 years ago. So we're actually coming up. I think our next episode will be our 4-year anniversary. So,
and we're doing nothing special.
I mean, we can do something special if you want. I mean,
I don't even know what that is. I need more than a week.
Yeah, I don't know what would entail as special at this point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally it would have been like, hey, let's have a meetup, but that's not happening.
Not happening.
I'm just disappointed about this Food and Wine Festival ending November 20th. And I get it, right? Because they have to have the other festival, but I think now we're starting to like leech into festival on festival unless you're just like unlucky and you go between like the 20th and the 27th or something of November.
So that's the other news item here is they announced that the Food and Wine Festival is going to start July 15th and go to November 20th, which is That's crazy long time.
Yeah, I was going to say,
mad.
Is it me or is that like a huge window for Food and Wine this year?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
It's a big window. I'm trying to remember what it was like pre-pandemic, like 2019. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I want to say I remember it starting like early September because I remember in previous years I've done September trips and it was like
so August to November for 19, Tom.
Okay, so they're just moving it up. Yeah, it was the end of August. That was August 29th.
Yeah. August 29th to November 19th. Yeah, so they're adding like a month and something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Adding a month, yeah.
I'm very disappointed because, again, while I love the holiday one, Food and Wine is just a little bit better. So I may have to, like I said, sneak down there for July. But see, here's what it boils down to. Is it worth $500 in tickets, right, and probably more than that, to go for a day to Food and Wine? I don't think so.
Yeah, this is where it's nice to be like a pass holder, if that makes sense for for you, where you could just pop in, But aren't you going early July? Like you're going like a week before this, right?
I go whenever I want. I haven't made any sort of.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, if Food and Wine, I could go the 16th if I felt like it. Like I'd go whenever I want.
Yeah.
I just, like I said, I just don't know if it dictates the amount of money would be kind of brutal just to go for a day.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, it would be a lot because you're paying for admission and then you're paying for all the food.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're talking about it probably close to a $700-800 day for 5 people.
Yeah.
Now, again, if passes were available, I would just get the pass and then I'd be good for November. But again, doesn't make sense. And actually, I don't even know. Does the pass? Is there blackout dates for Thanksgiving for the pass? Was there previously?
No, it was always Easter and Christmas were the blackout.
Yeah, it was always like spring break. If you got if you got the gold pass, I think it was the 2 weeks of spring break were maybe blacked out, and then Christmas, like the week between Christmas and New Year's, I think was blacked out.
Gotcha.
It wasn't a lot for the gold pass.
Yeah, I had the gold pass, and I remember looking at that, and the only ones I saw were Easter and Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was spring break too, but I could be wrong. But yeah. So I'll tell you what right now, though, just, talking about this kind of stuff, I getting a reservation to a restaurant has been so challenging for this upcoming trip. Like I have I'm using touring plans to do alerts for reservations, and I'm not getting any alerts at all because there's just no capacity and you can't get anything, it's.
I don't even think if there was Food and Wine, if I'd even. Well, are you getting park hoppers?
So no, we're the day we go to EPCOT, we don't have any reservations. We're just gonna eat.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, on a regular day, you don't have park hoppers.
No, we don't.
See, that's the problem. I would probably have just I would have said no reservations, and I'm going to eat dinner at EPCOT every night, and that'd be that.
Well, this trip's a little different. So it's my wife's birthday, so we're celebrating her birthday by having a nice dinner, that kind of thing. So we wanted at least one sit down dinner. But yeah, I mean, we for the EPCOT day, we're just going to eat around the world. That's what we're going to do. So I'm not going to schedule anything for that. But for the other 2 days, we're only doing Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and EPCOT. We're not going to do Animal Kingdom this time around. So I wanted to schedule some things. So. Which I'm not going to talk about on here because I'm keeping them a secret from my wife. This is going to be a surprise.
She doesn't listen to the show.
She doesn't, but she can hear me, as I'm talking right now. So, but we'll talk about it afterwards for sure. So anyway,
fair.
But yeah, it's a long festival, and they did say it sounded like they're adding more booths. Did I read that?
I don't know about more booths. I think that more things to do though.
Okay. So it says even more marketplaces will join the International Smorgasbord. So. As the festival continues into the fall before wrapping up. Okay, so I don't know if that means they're going to add more booths. I don't know.
Or they're going to switch them out, maybe.
I don't know. It's a good question.
So
we're going to have to find out.
Here's my only take on this. And I base this off of a ride overlay. So in Disneyland, they do the Nightmare Before Christmas ride overlay on the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, the stupidest show ever. Stupidest movie ever for Christmas.
You're going to make so many people mad.
Well, that's okay. I've already said this. It's so dumb.
So here's the thing is that, Disney would put the overlay on from September until January, a good chunk of time. And the problem with that was, we did a couple of trips and it was I just wanted to go on regular Haunted Mansion, but I couldn't because, half of the year almost was taken up with this overlay. The same kind of thing I'm thinking about with this Food and Wine window is that it's, I know Food and Wine's a little bit different in that it's...
How does it impact your EPCOT? That's my question.
Because EPCOT's a lot busier and it's also, Food and Wine is, I guess it matters more if I was going to be down there more, but it's kind of I feel like it gets to a point, if you had an annual pass and you were going, it's you have that first, maybe month or two of, going to Food and Wine, but then it gets to a point where it's kind of overstayed its welcome. Like that's kind of where I'm getting at with this is that I feel, they got to be careful with having one festival run too long is that by the end of it, people are just going to be oh God, Food and Wine, enough already. It's not an issue for us particularly, but
I think what it does though is that it opens it up to people that can't necessarily get there in the time frame that it was previously.
It's true.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Like, because then what is Epcot except one big festival? They might as well call it FestiCot.
Yeah, food and wine cot.
Well, it is supposed to be the permanent World's Fair, right? So,
yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I mean, you're going to have just a few days in between.
What's the acronym for Experimental Prototype Community of Food and Wine?
doesn't quite roll off the tongue as well.
I'm not even going to try and sound that out right now.
I just think there's going to be very few days where there's not something going on anymore. I think that's what we're getting to, is that there's going to be a takedown period of like a week, and then otherwise there's going to be a festival going on. So you'll have 4 times a year, and that's it.
I do wonder if they're going to shorten the time period once they get back to like 100% capacity. Because obviously they
Why?
Well, because they extended it last year because it was it was going to be harder for people to get in all the time because it was limited capacity. So you're right. Why is the good question? Because why would they?
They make more money, so
yeah.
I don't think so. I think we're going to see 4 weeks out of the year. There's no festivals, and that's it at FestiCot or EPCOFA? Is that what you said?
Yeah, EPCOFA is what I figured it out as.
EPCOFA.
Yeah.
Okay. Of food and wine.
I like FestiCot better, but what are we going to do?
FestiCot? FestiCot's pretty good. I like it. So, all right. I think that's enough of this nonsense for today. We should just wrap up. I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah,
right?
I think we're good.
I think we covered all our bases today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was great having Kerri on at the beginning there. That was good informational stuff, and then I think we had a good chat about food and wine and just all the usual stuff. So, all right, do we want to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So
I'm just laughing because I told Kerri she could stay the whole time, and I was like, you probably don't want to. We get a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, we say that to all of our guests. Is you feel free to stay on, but it gets rather silly after a while, right?
I feel like the only one that does ever is like Ziggy will stay on for. Well, but then again, we always have Ziggy for the whole thing. He's not on for anything other than staying. We got to get Ziggy back on.
Yeah, it's been a while. We need Ziggy back on for sure.
Yeah, people have asked when Ziggy's coming back. I haven't talked to Ziggy in a little bit, but I'll reach out. Anyway, Go ahead.
All right. So as usual, if you guys want to get a hold of us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. You guys send us emails all the time. You give us great questions. We love hearing about trip reports, your take on DVC and all that. It's a great way to reach us. If you don't want to email us, or if you want to reach us on Facebook, you can find us as Welcome Home Podcast. And if you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, it's called Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. Make sure you get in there and, join the conversation. People, we got a couple of guys that are posting their favorite memes all the time, which we appreciate. And
I'm enjoying the meme war. I'm enjoying the meme war between those two.
Yeah, that's fun.
Even though for some reason I seem to always be the topic of the memes now. I don't know what that's about, but
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's, like Jeremy said, it's whatever jumps out to him. So,
all right, whatever. I got to start being more boring, apparently. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So like we said, get in the Facebook group. People ask questions in there all the time. It's a great way to, have discussion about, if you're planning a DVC trip or you just want some advice on DVC. We got a lot of really smart people in that group, and, I think it's a good place to be for talking about DVC.
For sure.
Yeah, and also if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do. It's also called Welcome Home Podcast. When we do live shows or upcoming trip reports like Tom's, you'll be able to see those on our YouTube channel. And you can also follow us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. And last but not least, if you guys want any of our merchandise, make sure you go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and you can check out, we got t-shirts, mugs, there's masks on there if you're needing some masks for an upcoming Disney trip. And it helps us out with keeping the podcast running. And as usual, if you guys, even if you didn't find us on iTunes, but anywhere that you can leave a review for the podcast, make sure you do. We appreciate those reviews. We do read them. We do see your comments. It does help us, try and get better, but it also helps other people find the podcast.
Yeah. For sure. And, you know, of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any place you can find podcasts. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home. Look for the one that says Disney and, what it was to say? DVC and Disney Parks Podcast, whatever it says. I feel like I should remember this by now, but, you know what to look for. Look for the one that says DVC and Disney Parks. A reminder to our listeners, as always, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any and all opinions we express on the show are our own, so please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to Kerri from DVC Rental Store for coming to the show today and dealing with our nonsense and answering all of our questions. She was great to have on the show, so really
fantastic.
appreciate that. Yeah, she really was. She was great. And, you know, she'll, you know, the next time she comes on with us, then she'll maybe, you know, be at a Derek and Marissa level, but it's hard to get there, right? So, but Derek and Marissa, you know, too are awesome. But thank you to Kerri for coming from DVC Rental Store. Please check them out. And thank you to all of our sponsors, Monera Financial, DVC Rental Store, DVC Resale Market. Please check them out. We appreciate all of their support. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no